Hello, my name is Igor King. More and more often I hear from millionaires or just smart people that Europe is probably facing a deep and prolonged crisis. I want to tell you about another world. I won't hesitate to say that word, because to say another city or another country wouldn't be enough. The number of differences is huge in comparison with probably any European city. On the left, we have a list of topics that we will cover today. This is a short list, a little bit about me before we begin. I'm originally from Estonia. I've been involved in real estate since 2017. I have a small agency in Estonia. If someone wants to sell something here, buy something in Dubai, we can organize the whole cycle. We also sell real estate on the coast of Spain. It's Alicante with Benidorm, and the Malaga area with Marbella. But in recent times, I'm entirely focused on the Emirates, because at the moment, this location is much more interesting. Let me comment on the sign on the right, and let's get started. For partners and clients, this presentation was originally planned for agents so they could bring interested people to us and get a percentage of our commission. Later, I mulled over that the same lecture, all the same things we tell for clients who potentially want to buy. And those same clients could be our partners, not necessarily a real estate agent. Any person, no matter who they work as, if they tell their friend or acquaintance about us, they will say, "There is just Igor there. You can talk to him. He will tell you about Dubai." If that person buys something, we share the reward with the partner. The presentation will be more about experience than about numbers. I intentionally did not put in the presentation what you can easily find by one Google query. What do we offer our clients? Residence visa, aka residence permit, for 2 years or 10 years. According to the law in the Emirates, there will be a slide further on specifically about this. If you buy a property for a certain value, for a certain amount of money, then you are entitled to get local documents. What else do we offer clients? Absolutely legally, legitimately, you can exchange cryptocurrency for dirhams, take them to the developer, or directly transfer them to the developer, and no tax will be levied on this cryptocurrency. There will be a small, insignificant percentage for conversion, but it will be much less than the 20 to 30% we are used to. We also offer 99% interest-free installments from any developer, any Emirati developer. While the project is under construction, 2 years, 3, 4 years, depending on the project, the buyer pays a predetermined amount of money according to the installment plan. Looking ahead, there are developers who allow you to pay in interest-free installments after you receive the keys. What we offer: inexpensive apartments for yourself. When I say inexpensive, I mean that by European standards, they are really inexpensive. There are such options there. Why do I say there? Because at the moment I am in Europe for the summer, and in the fall I will be back in Dubai meeting clients and doing shows. The cost of townhouses and villas. Look at this. It's nothing supernatural. There is a huge number of misconceptions about Dubai, and the misconceptions I have heard from people who have not been there, and I have heard from people who have been there as tourists in tourist locations, have spent a huge amount of money, and know what life is like in fact and what advantages there are in the Emirates. Rental properties are so lucrative at the moment. Depending on the project and payment plan, official statistics show a 25% increase in rental values this year, and 15% increase in real estate for sale. It means that there is much more demand for rentals than finished projects, which indicates the health of the market. We can offer our clients building plots. Moreover, different directions, both private houses and apartment buildings. For resale, we enter into an interesting project, pay 30%, resell it in a year or a year and a half, and get a profit on the amount invested, which was generated on the total cost of the object. I will also talk more about this in the next slides. Retail. We have the opportunity to offer customers store space on the first floors of buildings under construction. And accordingly, what we offer partners is 33% for a recommendation. It can be a person who already wants to buy a estate in Dubai, or who doesn't know anything about Dubai yet and is just coming to talk to me. He may buy immediately, he may buy after a year, but we will fix the client for you. You will get your remuneration in case this client buys real estate through us. Yes, these amounts are quite realistic. This is a case-by-case calculation. So, here I've put together a collage of prejudices I've encountered when talking to people about Dubai. A woman seriously says to me, and I've heard that girls are not allowed to go alone there. If you go alone, the police can even pick you up. If anyone else watching this video thinks the same, I assure you, absolutely alone, you can walk down any street in Dubai. No one will be picked up by the police. It's not true. The second part of the collage is concrete. Who went as a tourist, walked around Marina, and did not go almost anywhere else? Marina, beach, tourist locations. He is bound to get the impression that Dubai is concrete high-rises. Accordingly, from Marina to downtown, or Business Bay took a ride, that's how Dubai is. Actually, it's not. Lots of green neighborhoods with low buildings, totally livable, not touristic, full of green. About life. A man with money spreads it around. Basically, if we look at YouTube, pictures, reels in Instagram, it looks like Dubai is only about money and expenses. I assure you that if you have the desire and ambition to live in Dubai, not more expensive than in Europe, you can do it. Example, Radisson for a month costs, at the moment, 1,500 euros. For a month, no meals, no food. I figured out where in Europe I can live in Radisson for 1,500 euros a month. I haven't found such an option. Another prejudice I've heard about is that a foreigner can't buy a property in full ownership. That used to be the case. Now there are still some neighborhoods, or even some areas in those neighborhoods, that really can't be bought in full possession. You buy a property for 99 years, and usually that property is sold below market value. But basically all projects are total ownership, just like in Europe. The last prejudice, the most common prejudice I've ever seen, that Dubai, the Emirates, live off oil. That's actually not true either. Dubai's economy depends on natural resources, for no more than 5%. In the last statistics that I observed, about 3% were minerals. Let's run through the cons. Of course, the most important one, I think it's the only major one, it's hot. It's hot for 2, 3, maximum 4 months. That's why those who have money fly away for this period and travel, live in Europe. People who live in Dubai for 10 years claim that Dubai has become cooler. In winter it used to be very hot and stuffy, now it is cool in winter. I assure you, sometimes you want to put something on. So basically, people talk about climate change. There is a belief that there are warm and cold cycles on Earth. And it is considered that we have lived the warm cycle a little bit in debt. Now the cold cycle comes generally on the whole planet. And what is a fact is that Emiratis change the weather and the climate as well. If you Google how many sunny days are there in Dubai, you will see a number of about 350, which will be absolutely untrue, because in Ramadan in 2023, there were 10 foggy days in a row without sunshine in 1 month, and it was done artificially. Clouds are caused, rains are caused. The sun is now far from every day. There are rains. And the infrastructure does not always cope with these rains because the city was not built for the rains. There's not much green yet. Because every neighborhood is going green. Every new neighborhood. There are neighborhoods that are not allowed to build property unless the project includes 35% landscaping. I also have heard that every day about 500 plants are planted in Dubai. Every day, imagine. I know for sure that Dubai wants to become one of the greenest places on the planet. Taking a page from Singapore? Mañana, inshallah, right? If you've been to Spain, you've come across this word. Many people think manana means tomorrow. Actually, it's more like not today, and it doesn't mean tomorrow. Inshallah is something like, if God willing, we'll see how it goes. This is a peculiarity of southern peoples, and it should be taken into account. Not alpine air, indeed. There are sandstorms out there. There are plans again to deal with it. But the fact now is, yes, there are sandstorms. Landscaping, among other things, will improve the situation. I also know that they are considering installing special units that will collect this sand from the air. We'll see. I think this is an issue they will address. For hookah lovers, yes, here really is the prejudice again. Everyone thinks Arabs equal hookahs and tea. Yes, there are hookahs at every step, but if you smoked hookahs somewhere in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, in Kiev, in Estonia, in Tallinn, you will not like those hookahs. A good hookah is a real must-have. Let's talk about the pluses. There will be many more. Moving smoothly to the rulers. On the left, the president of the entire UAE are and the emir of Abu Dhabi. On the right, the emir of Dubai is. Figures are given to give an idea of the scale of these people and organizations. Corporations are listed to make it clear that all emirate-forming companies, they belong to specific families and are controlled by these families. About the pros for you and me, for ordinary people. In Dubai, you can get dressed nice, not warm, all year round. There are not all these down jackets. Shoes don't get dirty, white, cool, like everything in Spain. And having a gym and a swimming pool in every house pushes the idea that you need to be in shape. That's because everything's in plain sight. Your gym is 1 minute away by elevator. It's very convenient. I have traveled to many countries and cities in Europe, and I can say that Dubai has a large concentration of beautiful, well-built, fit people. The sea, it doesn't get so cold that you can't swim in it. Of course, it's a matter of habit, but I can say about the Baltic Sea. You used to be able to swim, at least in the summer, but this summer it hasn't warmed up enough. Even in winter in Dubai, the sea will be warmer than the Baltic Sea in summer, I assure you. These guys on the left, the criminals, are not allowed to enter Dubai. By the way, Spain is open. I will constantly, periodically compare Dubai with the countries and cities I am navigating, that is Tallinn in Estonia, and partly with Spain. I know something about Spain too. Here in Spain, I have recently watched a video of people with bare torso, with a gun running around the city. That's not impossible in Dubai. But I do know that the police in Dubai would analyze the incident, find out that about 50% of cases are African, and impose visa control. And apparently, judging by the fact that there are not very many African people in Dubai, the criteria for this visa control are not easily met. There may be some fees involved. What have they done by doing that? They have reduced the number of accidents in Dubai by 50% with one decision. Why is it calm there and why don't you see any police? As we are used to in Europe, if we see a policeman with a machine gun, it means it's safe. He will protect us. It's not like that there. You rarely see the police. And it's very peaceful there. And how coolly it is done that the motivation is that standardly they can go to jail, the prisons are not very nice, but they can be deported. And so those who are in Dubai, they are extremely reluctant to be expelled from the country and have their entry closed. That's why you see a lot of smiling and polite people around you wherever you are in Dubai. Abu Dhabi is in the tops. In first place for several years now. Dubai also has been ranked from 1st to 10th in security for several years now. By the way, my acquaintances told me about the pre-trial detention cell. Their friend was there, and it was like this. In order for everyone to be able to lie down in this cell, 2 of them must stand. Therefore, I do not recommend the pre-trial detention cell in Dubai. I advise you to obey the law, but then again, I've heard that new European prisons are being built. Keep it in mind. Property security. In fact, in Dubai, privacy is at a high level. This applies to the apartment, the car. No one will look in your windows. You can do whatever you want in your home. I have checked. In different places, I left my wallet or phone on the table, went away for 10 minutes, came back, and everything was there. A lot of stories about how someone forgot something. It was returned to him. You've probably seen it on YouTube. You can't say it's 100% that no one ever steals anywhere. There have been cases, but there are so few of them because Dubai is covered in cameras. Anyone is detected, figured out, and sent home. So it's not sensible. People do not turn off their cars, they don't park, the air conditioner is working. There is no point in turning off the car. It will not go anywhere. Let it stay cold. At the same time, in Spain, acquaintances told me that quite recently they have got their window broken. Some things that had been left in the car were taken out just through the window. It's a normal practice. Yes, confidentiality. I did a similar presentation offline. Those who were watching, one of them joked, "Are those the ones who went there?" I said, "No, these are the ones who catch the ones who went over there." But their task is not an easy one, because Dubai does not give out any information. It is not interested in it. In general, if you send any requests anywhere, yes, even to the developer, it is good if someone answers you in a couple of months. At least something will answer. So confidentiality is at a high level. We have seen economic growth for several years. The growth is justified. It is clear that this situation, which took place in February last year, has affected the influx of Russians, but Russians have never been in the first place among buyers, as many people think. Now in February, China is free. China is free of coronavirus restrictions. At one point, the entire hotel lobby was full of Chinese. That's what I observed specifically myself, just the whole lobby. We stopped by the state-owned developer Emar's sales office, and at one point I catch myself thinking that there are Asians both everywhere. It was significantly at the beginning of the year, and I am convinced that they will buy, they will continue to buy, they are bringing in cash, they will have a big impact on the market. In addition to Russia and China, European countries are buying. The UK has been at the top of the list there for a long time. Who would have thought? And India, Pakistan, huge markets. Yes, they have always been there. Someone from Europe, from Russia, prefers to take money to Turkey, but there is a peculiarity in Turkey. There's the lira. Dubai dirhams are pegged to the dollar and the rate has never changed, which guarantees us some stability in our investments. Next up, about the IT state. Banks. Banks are similar to European banks. Everything is digital. Maybe not as convenient as in Estonian banks. Estonia is basically an IT state. Spanish banks probably can be compared to Spanish banks. Everything is digital, but there are so many things. There are so many complicated passwords that it may not be necessary. But there it is. Anyway, if you have Emirati documents, you can open an account without coming to the bank, absolutely online. and the card will be sent to your specified address within a few days. As I said, there are cameras everywhere, all over the city. This also guarantees security because you can find anyone using these cameras. There are no cops with batons. There are cameras everywhere. They record your belts. They record your speed. The police. They don't even come to an accident if someone hits someone in the bumper and there are no victims in the accident. Public services. Also, a lot of things are done digitally, and Dubai is actively developing in this direction. Parking, even if you came as a tourist, looking at the sign, you will figure out what to do, where to send a text message, or what application to download. Very convenient. Yes, by the way, real estate transactions, they also take place completely online. If we're talking about new buildings from a developer, which we focus on, you don't need to go there at all. You pay the bill, either enter your card details, or follow the link and send the money directly to the builder to the escrow account. If anyone does not know what an escrow account is, I will tell you about it a little later. Dubai is ranked 6th in the world for medical tourism, overtook Israel and Germany. Again, who would have thought? A huge category of investment, government revenues, is concentrated on the medical sector. It is very actively developing. The quality of services is at the highest level. To either open a company or to get a job for medical staff, you need a lot of documents to confirm in practice. They value their reputations very much. There are hundreds of entertainment for children and adults. If you go somewhere twice a week, to a new place, to some concert, some event, you will definitely be able to go to different places during the year, and you will not repeat yourself. Let's talk about what moms care about, specifically now about daycare centers. You see the website, which you can go to and see all the kindergartens, schools, universities. There's strict control there too. There are ratings, there are evaluations, the sites of accredited institutions themselves. Everything is on this most important state site. Here, I will tell you about a particular kindergarten where children are admitted to at the age that of 8 weeks. It's hard to imagine, but the information is listed on the website. A good kindergarten costs in Dubai from 1,200 euros a month. Starting from, it is clear that this is not the ceiling. Often in Dubai, institutions are at school, that is the same organization, bought an apartment nearby, gave the child there, he communicates with people, he gets used to the education system, and then on the same path he goes to school without changing anything in his life. There are 3 education systems: British, American, Swiss. Choose the one you are comfortable with. 3 languages a child usually gets in kindergarten, such as English. Also it can be Arabic, plus a language of choice, plus one he chooses at school. The possibility to leave children until 17, as you are used to do in Europe. Not all education systems allow this, but one of them, I think the Swiss, allows exactly until 17 children to be in an educational institution. They don't bring everyone up along the same lines, in the same format. They find out what the child is more predisposed to and develop these qualities in him. Surely you have seen a picture on the internet. There is a tree, a camel, a deer, a fish, and it is written that if you evaluate each of them by their ability to climb the tree, nothing good will come out of it. It is in the Emirates that they do not make this post-Soviet mistake, but individually develop the child's disposition. I think it's wonderful. And accordingly, you surround your child with children from well-to-do families. And this in turn guarantees that after kindergarten, the child will socialize with children who will have a hobby, who will have something to do. That is again, comparing with post-Soviet countries, If we give a child to a kindergarten, to a regular school, then, well, what am I going to tell you? You know what happens there after school. Children meet, do not know where to go. So here someone will have equestrian sport, someone will have golf, someone will have swimming. Kids are involved. And your child accordingly. Back to the kindergarten chain. Blossom. It was founded in the year 2003 in France. It's the leading network in the world. Specifically, my acquaintances gave a child to this network. They took a long time to choose. And there goes the neighborhood. The neighborhood has its own kindergarten. The same company. We cross the street, there's another neighborhood, and there's a kindergarten of the same company. So there is a choice. This network is one of those that has more than one representative office in Dubai, as well as in France, in Belgium, in Germany, in Switzerland, in Luxembourg, in the Netherlands, in America, in India, in Singapore. Can you imagine the scale? Yes. People have taken a decade to derive a system, refined it, and duplicate it in the best countries. About schools. There is a form that equalizes everyone, which again I think is important, because there can be people with very different incomes, and the children will all be on an equal footing. No one will be boastful about anything. Great. The site is the same, yes. Reviews, ratings, verifications. All the things that were on the last slide. 4 languages, smart friends, a no-suffering approach, and every opportunity. Imagine the possibilities for a person, for a child who has attended an international school and commands 5 languages. And he also knows a dozen acquaintances and friends, dozens probably, yes, from well-to-do families, and who will probably have either a good business or a good job down the road. I think that's wonderful. The cost is listed here too. Specifically, this school is one of the best. It's 26,000 euros a year. Again, the prices are for today. At any moment can be changed. And in general, good schools from 15 to 20,000 a year. Briefly about universities. The cost. Well, look at it. Compare it to the universities you and I went to. What it looks like purely aesthetically. To perceive what will surround a person is a dream. Again, the number of kindergartens, schools, and universities today. This number is constantly growing. It's a huge market. Lots of people with money, lots of employees to employ. Yes, and if, let's say, you were born with European skin color, you are already lucky in the sense that the probability of finding a well-paid job increases. It especially increases if you speak English and Russian, as there are more and more Russian speakers from all over the world there. By the way, I've heard that even locals don't get hired if they don't know English. About English. It's important, isn't it? Let's compare it with Estonia and Spain. If you move to Estonia or Spain without local languages, you will not manage. You will not solve questions. You need an interpreter. You need to learn the language before you get a job or study. The huge plus of Dubai is that all issues are solved there in English. For company owners, it is clear. A big market, financial flows. In principle, it is easier to earn money where there is money. There is another important plus. There is no minimum wage limit there. You can arrange for an employee even for 1 dirham a month. No problem. There are banks. Definitely, there are, as I've already said, everything works online. They give loans too, but mostly with local documents, and with European ones you can get. But it will not be easy, and you need to have an official income of at least 5,000 euros. Only then they will start to consider. Credit brokers do it who know the banks, know how to submit, and they will take their percentage for it. Society. People from all over the world, from everywhere. Canada, Portugal, the Baltics, Russia, Ukraine, India, Pakistan. So this is the place where you can meet people you will never meet anywhere else. For example, if you live in Europe, for example, I have a friend there from Turkmenistan. Have you ever heard something about Turkmenistan? I once glimpsed on YouTube that it is interesting to listen to the story. And a man from Turkmenistan who lived in the UK for 10 years, and we met in Dubai. Completely different life experience, mindset, super interesting. Look, the population now is about 3.5 million. How many people do you think inhabited the Emirates, Dubai, in the 1950s? And what do you think the percentage of the local population is among those 3.5 million? Look at this figure, 85%. That means about 15. The more people come in, the more that number, the percentage of locals decreases. 10 to 15% local. That's cool too, because if you come to Spain, and again you're a visitor, you have to know the language. It's directly felt. In Dubai, when you realize that everyone who walks past you, they're just as non-local as you are, it gives you a kind of peace of mind. I mean, you're all guests here. Most of them are visiting. Ambiance, another plus. You can meet these people just on the street, in a restaurant, and at some common event. I will not name who it is. Probably everyone knows the creator of Telegram. And this nice girl, now a blogger, everyone used to see on TV. I've met Pavel Durov in person just walking down one of the roads. And this cute girl I met at an event. Look, this is your everyday life in Dubai when you buy an apartment. Every day, please. Kidding, of course, but in fact, the number of stars of interesting people, entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, it is not limited there. Constantly leaving the house, you find yourself in some company or at some event where you meet these people. That's what I really like about Dubai as well. Let's talk about the tax system. Here are the figures for Dubai as of today. Again, Tallinn is also as of today. Marbella, Spain. Okay, they have a gradation, they have a tax increase depending on the amount, so the numbers are approximate. If someone is watching me from Spain, some agent from Spain will say, Igor, what are you doing? It's not like that. We don't have 25, we have 24. Anyway, the numbers in Spain are huge, as they are in the whole of Europe compared to Dubai. Let's see how much money an employee, a company owner, will get if he earns 100,000 euros. In Estonia, in Europe, no matter where, it's about the same system. And in Dubai, look, I calculated on a special calculator without taking into account the tax-free minimum, which will change the Tallinn figure a bit. But there is a maximum of 55,000. A person who earned money for the company and took it out with a paycheck. That's the figure comes out in the end, half as much. In Dubai, it would be 95,000. There is a license fee. In Dubai, there is a fee depending on what activity you are doing. There is an obligation to rent an office, or you may not have one, plus license fees, plus reports. But this amount does not depend on your turnover. This amount cannot be called a tax. You started a company. If you decide to do nothing, it is absolutely unprofitable. If you earn money, it does not matter whether you earn 100,000, which in Dubai is not very much, to put it mildly, or you earn millions, you still pay the same amount for the license. Well, and 5%. This year they introduced a corporate tax, 9% for corporations, for large companies. Conclusion. There is almost a twofold difference in the amount a person receives on his account. If he earned this money, he got it to his account in Dubai. Another of the pluses that we voiced as a drawback earlier is a green city. Here are really so green neighborhoods, parks, they are in Dubai, and they are not known to those who came as tourists most of the time. There is a global master plan for the year 2040. You can see all the items in that plan on the website listed on the right, but some of the main ones are those, plus 40% of the beaches. Basically, it's going to be done by opening up a second palm tree, and it's already in process, and it's a new attraction. And those who thought that Business Bay and downtown, that's right, the center of the planet, are now starting to realize that Dubai is expanding in this direction, towards the first palm tree, towards the second palm tree. And real estate, it is just starting to develop here, and this is the right place where to buy real estate. Marina, Business Bay, downtown. Real estate is expensive, a lot of old real estate, traffic jams. We're getting off topic here. Yes, specifically about real estate we'll talk further, and we'll talk in detail with a specific person who will email me, and I'll tell you all about it. Greening. As I said, Dubai already has a lot of green areas, plus 105% they plan to do. And the population is going to be almost doubled. And it is clear that the doubling of the population will not happen by building high-rises in the same neighborhoods, because there will be mad traffic jams. Dubai will grow in depth towards the desert and in width towards Abu Dhabi. In April, there were some really cool days. I am telling you this as a person who was in Dubai at that moment. I think, well, where is the promised heat? It's about time. It was straight up cool. Clouds were called in. The wind was blowing. It was raining. Great. The climate is changing. About the airports. How many passengers were received in the year for which we have statistics? For the year 2022. Look, these are the top airports in the world, and Dubai overtook London and Amsterdam, making an increase of 127%. What does that tell us? It tells us about the number of tourists Emirates makes money from, the number of workers who have come to take up a position, companies, organizations. Roughly speaking, how many people have brought money there? Since we talked about Estonia, let's see what we have in Estonia. What do you think the number is? That's the number. But in 2023, the number of flights from Tallinn decreased. So I'm convinced that the number will also decrease. The great advantage of Dubai, now the second airport is opening there, is that you can fly to any place in the world, practically anywhere from this airport without any layovers, except, of course, Estonia. What does a resident visa give and how to get it? 186,000 euros. We buy real estate, invest in the economy. And as a result, we get the opportunity to get ourselves this resident visa. There is also a premium version, $545,000, or almost 500,000 euros. The visa is issued for 10 years. All people are included. That is, in the golden visa, the one I called premium. It includes even a housekeeper. You can bring her and make her documents on your visa, becoming a sponsor. What does it give? Again, I left a link to the source. You can research everything in detail. Laws change quite often. The country and the city are growing pretty fast. But the fact at the moment is that you can, once you get a visa, stay for an unlimited number of days. Go or send your children to study, get medical care, get insurance, buy a car, get a local license. You have to get it. And if you are from Europe, you can simply exchange them and accordingly open a bank account. That is, you can use the whole infrastructure like a normal resident. In Spain, we made a deal. We were unable to transfer money to the developers for 6 months. The money came from an official account, an open European account. In Dubai, it looks like this. Nobody cares. In fact, at least you transfer crypto to the developer. At least you transfer cash to the developer. Not all developers accept. Someone closes such opportunities time after time in their projects. But there is such an opportunity. And certainly, sending you a link, the developer will not ask where you will take this money. If you have it in your account, that's enough for him to accept it. Look, in Spain, when you buy real estate, depending on the region, you pay 7 to 10%. Anyway, in Marbella, when you buy an old property, you have to pay 7% to the state. when you buy a new property, you have to pay 10% to the state. In Dubai, it is always 4%. What percentage do you think you have to pay to the state in Singapore? Yes. That's just limited. So China doesn't buy Singapore. Simply don't buy. So where do you think the Chinese are going to take their money? They already have, which again guarantees us another long-term and protracted rise in value. And the Chinese, they're not just bringing money in, they're going there themselves. After being quarantined pretty harshly, and for a long time, they realized that freedom is very relative. Pros of investing. Yes, as it was mentioned earlier, rent is from 7 to 15 brings. You have to count each case separately, because there is what is called post-rental, when you have paid half the amount, got the keys in hand, and paid the rest at the expense of the tenant. Resale, plus 20 to 50% on the money invested. We invested from the total cost of €1,000,000. We invested 30 to 40%, plus 4 to the state, that's we talked about on the last slide. And real estate, the market in general is growing. Plus, the value of real estate is growing, only good real estate is growing as it is being built. Accordingly, if the market grew by 15% in general, plus 5 to 10% at the construction stage, the invested funds 20 to 30, sometimes 50, sometimes 100% on invested funds can be made on rare premium objects, like Royal Atlantis. Investors have made very good money there. And such projects come out from time to time. I know exactly which projects of which developers we can enter, and we will definitely earn money. The question is how much. The question is how big will be the demand for this particular project. For one project, the demand is a little less. For another, a frenzied demand in general. There are several developers who give such an opportunity. Moreover, there is a developer who directly allows investors to earn money. Approximately on the lot, 100 people. All of them want to buy, and accordingly, the developer could raise the price, leaving only 10 people in line instead of 100. He doesn't raise the price. They all participate, and by lottery, someone buys. Accordingly, the one who bought, the next day, he can resell his lot. I know how to buy without a lottery. Without an auction, you can get these lots. There are builders who give a discount if you buy several lots, which is also beneficial for resale. Get at least 2% off 3 lots, plus get the option of those lots. Because not all lots reach the final buyer. On pre-sales, all better lots in certain projects are snapped up. We can sum it up by saying that Dubai involves the best of everything. Race courses in Dubai, Burj Khalifa, the biggest mall, the new Meydan Mall that's under construction. The Palm was like a miracle of the world. Now they're opening an even bigger Palma. Plus they're building a casino on the island. You can't officially build gambling establishments on Arab land under Sharia law. But if it is a bulk island, it is possible. Accordingly, in the emirate where it will be built, real estate has already started to grow there, and there is great potential there. Let's talk about one, probably the most common misconception that Dubai is expensive, to which I usually reply that no more expensive than Europe. And for good reason. Let me tell you about the prices, about what I noticed while staying in Dubai. Specifically, groceries. Groceries, depending on which grocery chain you buy them from, can be cheaper than in Europe. Could cost the same or 10 to 20% more, depending on what it is. If we take a pack of cottage cheese, it will cost €5. It's much more expensive. But that's more of an exception. Most of the right products like the one pictured will cost less, or as well as in Europe. Shipping, same thing. Anyway, we have a powerful inflation in Estonia and all prices have gone up. Delivery including. If in Tallinn to order a chicken or turkey kebab at home, it will cost 14 to 16 euros. In Dubai, for the same money you will get a kebab at home, and because of the huge competition there, restaurants, cuisines from all over the world, for the same money you will get a very tasty hummus as a gift. Food delivery from restaurants is definitely not more expensive. There's a huge selection. Fuel costs up to $1. Price jumps around 9 cents. Cars are cheaper than in Europe. Absolutely. And real estate. Real estate. We'll talk about it later, but now let's look at an example. A mid-owl premium Audi A8, Restyle. I believe it's the penultimate body. Cost. Here in Estonia. The price of such a car will be from 20,000 and in a good configuration, and in Dubai, most cars in a good configuration in our country will cost about 25 or 27,000 euros. How much do you think this car will cost in Dubai? Also, the roads in the Emirates are the best I've seen. I've traveled all over Spain. I've traveled all along the coast, have driven around Germany, France, and here I used to think the best roads were in Spain. But they won't compare to Dubai's pavement. Plus there was news that they are launching a special vehicle that will scan the roadbed for cracks, and accordingly mark on the map where a crack is detected, where human attention is required. That's genius. Let's talk about more premium cars. Rolls-Royce. Used modest Rolls-Royce in Estonia because of the lack of choice and possibility it costs from $120,000. In Dubai, this very car was sold for 80,000 without taking into account bargaining. In principle, 80,000, what is that? In Estonia, every third leased car costs more than that. Then let's move on to the statistics. I've met people who talk about Dubai who have never been to Dubai. They say, the market is overheated. I don't even want to look at it. Why? Public transportation. I realize that people watching this presentation, they won't be taking public transportation most likely. But just to compare the price of living in Dubai, look at it. Compare. I'm not going to read it out. Given that it's a metropolis, right? It's the Emirate of Dubai, it's expensive, it's all elite, premium. But no. By the way, cabs are also not more expensive than in Europe. They are not expensive at all. Renting a new medium-sized car of some kind, if you come there and don't have documents, will cost with all the insurance about 1,200 euros. It could be a Passat, it could be a Kia. You will pay absolutely normal money for a new car. This slide shows us how much real estate for $1 million on average in the world you can buy. The statistics are approximate. It is clear that these figures change, but the general idea is conveyed by this table. Yes, by the way, it lists Singapore. You can buy 35 square meters, can no longer. Since on the million you buy the property for, you'll need to add another 600,000. Singapore falls out, but in principle, European benchmarks are right there. Is Dubai so much worse than Berlin and Paris? What do you think? I think Dubai has a huge number of advantages. Here, of course, on this slide, Moscow and Sochi. The slide is more for those familiar with the Russian market. Sochi is breaking all records. The average price per meter square at the beginning of the 2023. It is important to note that these are average figures. We do not take the maximum ceiling. Premium real estate. We do not take because a square meter of premium real estate in Dubai can cost $40,000. Easy. 1 square. And here's this company analyzing markets. It takes a certain apartment, 60 square meters, and calculates based on how much a person with a salary can buy it for, taking into account that it will be in the center of the city and how much he will be able to pay for it by renting it out. That's how the agency assesses whether the market is overheated. That's basically my favorite slide for those people who say, "Oh, Dubai, bubble, bubble, bubble." And what do you base your ideas about market overheating on? Dubai is no more overheated than Warsaw, and Warsaw, as you know, is the center of Europe. German cities are more overheated, so Dubai is one of the least overheated markets in the world. Developers specifically let people earn money by attracting new investments and building up the city. It's a great strategy. They're not trying to maximize. This shows the growth of the luxury segment globally. If you had watched this presentation earlier and bought yourself a nice apartment from the developer Omniat, it would have grown by 50%. Airbnb considers Dubai one of the most lucrative markets for short-term rentals, respectively. Who has already bought real estate in Dubai? I won't name names, there's no point. You know all or almost all of these people. Here's another list I'll add to the list. Obviously the list is incomplete. I could go on for a long time, just so you know who you can meet in Dubai and who has already decided to invest their money there. Let's move on to real estate. Why do people invest in real estate? We're not talking about Dubai right now. We're talking about real estate in general. Real estate always grows in the long term. There's a joke. When is the best time to buy real estate? Always yesterday. Look at any charts, any stable country. There will always be growth on a 10-year stretch. Market growth plus rental yields. Yes, specifically in Dubai, the growth was 15%. Plus rental yield. When the facility is ready, it will start to add to that rental yield of about 15% more. And 30% in dollar terms seems to me that's not bad. Back to the general reasons. Risk-free investing. Again, there are risks everywhere. But relative to all other investments, this is the most stable. Legacy. Why does it make sense to multiply the number of properties? Because, as we have already said, it is a growing, yielding object, and this object is understood by your heirs. Those who know the history of fiat understand what I am talking about. Not always the heir can cope with what you put on him if it is a factory or a complex business, or a business that is tied to your particular name. Anybody can handle real estate. Pretty much anyone. Diversification. Why do people buy real estate? Because they've already bought stocks, cryptocurrency, and are moving money into real estate, including they invest in real estate in different countries. Because somewhere there is a crisis, somewhere there is growth. Diversification in a word. Real estate is something that's hard to take away. Unlike cryptocurrency, unlike bullion that you're going to store somewhere, there are far fewer stories you know about real estate being stolen. Well, it is an asset that is liquid. Real estate is always needed. Understandably, there is the question of price. There can be crises. But real estate is something that everyone needs because people will live there, and you can easily get out of this asset. Why do people buy in Dubai? Escrow accounts. What is an escrow account? I tell you, it is an account in a bank to which the developer has no access, and the money is released by the bank as the project is built. The bank receives reports, photos, all documents, that the project has advanced by 10%, and the developer can take a certain amount from the account. In this way, the buyer is protected from under construction and all possible risks. Banks are a guarantor. Why else do people buy in Dubai? Cryptocurrency. People simply, without coming, transfer money to the developer or exchange crypto for cash, and cash is taken to the developer physically. You don't need to be present at all. You don't need transactions through the bank. Everything is as simple as possible, and it is probably the most profitable method of withdrawing cryptocurrency from your wallet. Diversification in Dubai. Hubut in Europe. In Europe, it is clear that there is old Europe, there is the Baltics. Somewhere the crisis is bigger, somewhere the crisis is smaller. But Dubai is a direct diversification. It is another world with its own economy. Why else? Prices are like in Estonia, and prices are lower than in old Europe, in the capitals of old Europe. And even if we compare the capitals of Germany, France, and the capital of the UAE, Abu Dhabi, even in Abu Dhabi the prices are lower than the old European capitals. The prices are like in Estonia. They really are similar. Now we will talk specifically with examples, but the people I have talked to from the Baltics and in principle from Europe, they usually think that Dubai is an unbelievable price and it is impossible to enter there. Some millions. No, at the moment there are projects. Yes, every new launch is more expensive, but at the moment there is a project where you can go in and pay less than for a normal project in Tallinn. Anyway, we were looking for a studio in Tallinn for 140,000 euros, and we didn't find it. From the developer, new, good. In Dubai, a project under construction can be taken, if for cash, then from 105,000 euros. For 130, you can take a good project. Why else in Dubai? Zero taxes on rent and sales. In Europe it is clear. If you are an honest person, if you plan to work for a long time, in Estonia, in Spain, you have to pay taxes. In Estonia it turns out to be about 16%, taking into account the discount. In Spain it is more than 20%. In Dubai, how much was transferred to your personal account? That's how much you spent. You do not owe anyone anything. Officially, by law, private income is tax-free, and there are developers who give installments. That's what we've already talked about. During the construction phase, or after you get the keys, you can pay. So to enter, you need 20% plus 4%. Low threshold of entry. What's in the price in Dubai? Finishing. For Europe it is usual, for Russia it is unfamiliar, because concrete is delivered there. In Dubai, all apartments are delivered with finishing, although in a southern style, yes, like in Spain. Kitchen. It's always usually in the price. Often the kitchen is already equipped with appliances. Depending on the project, you need to find out. Built-in closets are also in every project. Sometimes, depending on the project, the builder will put out other furniture as well. A parking space is also in the price. If you take an apartment of less than 150 square meters, 1, if more, 2, you probably know how much a parking space costs in Europe. And when we have started comparing the cost of apartments, yes, I told you, we couldn't find one in Estonia for 140. If we found one for 140, parking would be added to the price. And there, depending on the developer and the neighborhood, it would be plus 5 to 10, and if in the center, even 20,000. Here, when looking at the price of real estate, take into account that parking is included in the price. What else is in the price? You have to pay for it. There's a service charge. Yes, for service. Everywhere. In Spain, if you have a swimming pool, in Dubai, you have to pay for service everywhere. But you have a pool in every modern complex. There is often a children's pool and playground. There is always a gym. No need to go anywhere, very convenient to be beautiful. I'm planning to start one too. Often, if you take not the most budget complex, there is a bathhouse or a hammam, some kind of co-working, maybe a movie theater, a treadmill. Often, it is also somewhere on the podium. A barbecue area. The most premium projects even have valet parking. When you arrive at the place, the person takes the key from you and parks the car. That is, you don't have to drive the car to the parking lot and go somewhere from the parking lot. You get out, you give the keys. That's it. Your car comes to pick you up. It's not free, of course. Slide for investors. Next 2. The pros of buying a floor. A floor doesn't always mean a straight floor. It's a bulk deal. It's multiple apartments. And depending on the developer, it can be 2 apartments, or 3, or 5. The drawback is that if we take out an installment plan for resale, and we expect to sell at 30% or at 40%, then we should have the next step ready, a follow-up payment. If we put up at 30% and wait a certain amount of time to sell at our inflated starting price, no buyer came to us, and the next payment is coming up, we should be ready to make it. That's it. Pros there, pre-sale probability of buying from some builders, this is the state builder I was talking about, is 5%. That's already been calculated. If you go wholesale, you get what you want off the line. Some developers give discounts of 2, sometimes 3%, but the risks are minimal. You buy either what is exclusive, what others want to buy, or you buy at a discount. The only question is how much you make. There's a specific calculation here. If you're interested in that, you can pause and look at the numbers. But I will say that we have prepared tables for one of the projects. If a person specifically wants to enter a certain project, selects a project for investment, we will make such tables. We will predict the future. Worst case, best case, average case. But you can look at the refunds of the amount invested. 12 to 20% is very average. The cost of a floor with a markup of 15%, well, this is a very average, very ordinary investment. It is important to realize that when we go into an exclusive project, we can win the bingo when the demand will very much exceed the supply, and there will be a queue for the lots we take in bulk. Then the cost of the floor with markup will not be 15%, maybe 50%. Next, I'm going to talk about a few projects. See, the first project is the Central Park. That's what it looks like. I've got a video of it right here. I've been to that site. It's about 30 minutes away. From the sea, well, 25 to 30. It's a state-owned developer. Low-rise development, cool quality, 100% stable developer. Now, one by one, houses are being launched in this style. We can walk right into it. If not this one, the next one. That's what this neighborhood offers. It's important to say that there are neighborhoods like JVC, where dozens of developers have come in and each built their own points, their own development spot, their own towers. And there are neighborhoods where a master developer buys a piece of land and builds up the whole neighborhood with schools, with stores. And that's exactly what this is. In which the developer has connected all the sidewalks, all the roads in the master plan, and due to this, you feel the most comfortable. Yes, by the way, when you buy real estate in this project, you immediately save 2% on the payment of the state contribution to the land department. There is also a free bus to one of the largest malls. The subway is promised to be built in the 2027 year, which guarantees a rise in cost. 50,000 square feet of Central Park alone. Plus there's all sorts of skate parks, separate playgrounds, private clinics, one major hospital, 350 retail that the developer doesn't sell, but rents out filtering tenants, which is very important. If you buy and rent, and you can rent to whomever you want, and then there may be problem tenants in the neighborhood where there will be odor problems, cockroach problems, and so on. Here also the developer filters those who will rent. It predominantly gives to large chains, proven tenants. And of course parking, as we said, in the price. How much do you think a studio in this project costs? When I made a presentation and asked this question offline, most often the following figures were heard. A studio in this project will cost from $200,000 to $300,000 or euros. In fact, the prices are like that. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is not the most budget project. It is a quality project with its own application. It's a subsidiary of a large state-owned company that has the best app on the market. The app is for the end user when something happens. A tap leaks, a faucet. You take a photo, the photo is uploaded to the app, and a man with a wrench comes running to you. This is such a project. There are cheaper ones. You can find cheaper. But of the budget ones, I'm showing you a good option. In my opinion, it's at least one of the best budget options by all criteria. And look at how affordable the prices are. The prices go up with every new house that is launched, and even at the presentation a month ago. People who were there saw different prices than on this slide. Yeah, prices have gone up. It's hard to buy a studio, but it's possible. If you want a studio in this project, we'll have to get in line. If you want a large apartment in a family neighborhood, which this neighborhood is, we will buy without a waiting list. The next project is exactly the kind of project that has a post-handover. Again, the developer is launching similar projects. The distinctive feature is the pools on the balconies, private pools that will be cleaned without your intervention. That is, it will be included in the price of maintenance of the house. So you move in and the tenant pays. And there's either something left on your hands, or you pay a little extra. But you get the apartment for the 60% you actually paid. This is the Arjan neighborhood. It's 12 minutes to Dubai Marina, 14 minutes to Business Bay. So the location's pretty good. Furniture and appliances, smart home system are already in the price. Parking service, concierge services, poolside recreation area, children's pool, adult pool, jacuzzi, outdoor movie theater, children's playground, indoor gym area, barbecue area, steam bath, sauna. The treadmill and the service charge is just that. Home maintenance. 15 dirhams per square foot per year. You can do the math in the currency of your choice. That's the Dubai average per square foot. How much do you think this project is worth? I'll tell you right off the bat, it's more expensive. It will be more expensive, yes. Those projects that have post-handover, they're bound to be a little bit more expensive. But nothing supernatural either, yes. And pay attention to the square footage. That project and this project, a one-bedroom of 74 square meters. I saw a one-bedroom in Tallinn up to 40 square meters. There were 36 square meters or 37 when it was a one-bedroom. So, my dear viewers, please note that the apartments are different from each other. There is specifically twice the size of the one I was talking about. Another popular green neighborhood with a park. We're moving into the middle price range. Dubai Hills. Here is a green park, a huge number of cool playgrounds, a lot of greenery, the corresponding smell. Also low-rise building, medium-rise building, not towers. One of the projects that was launched recently, this is the price and the square footage was in this project. Let's go to premium. I've just shown the average cost of an average apartment in a good average, good non-elite neighborhood. Now we move on to the high-end projects. A project on the sea in Marina. Everything was sold out quickly. It was Damak Bay. The 3 towers on the right went up. Anyway, all the interesting lots went very quickly. Damak Bay 2 was launched then. We may still find something there now, but the best lots are definitely sold out. I won't even list them. Everything I said is in the past projects, it's in this project too. plus the fountains. So, it's another level. It's a class act. You've got a sea view. You've got an open first line. You see the palm. The sweetest deals look like this. And you have to get them prepared in advance because the whole world is hunting these offers. And this is exactly one of those options that are perfect for resale. Also one of my favorite projects. This is the most introductory neighborhood in Dubai. A city within a city. Again, a master developer took a huge piece of land and built it up. He's got it all laid out. He's got all the roads connected. 11 clusters, each of which will have a different style lagoon. That is, you will be able to get around on non-motorized water vehicles. You can imagine, you step out of your villa or townhouse, you go a couple dozen or 100 meters, and you're in the water. You inflate your supboard, you sit down with your kid and you just ride around the Mound Island. You go to your neighbor's house, you meet your friends, and what a neighborhood. It's beautiful. Highly recommended. Cost of villas. This was the last or penultimate cluster. This is the premium cluster of Morocco. And yes, the previous clusters had lower prices. This is the premium segment. We can find something in previous clusters as well, but this is straight up the most current information. A 4-bedroom townhouse and a 5-bedroom townhouse. Next up are the villa, and villa premium. Note, villa premium. If you think you deserve the best, 2,370 square meters. It's not the size of the territory. This is the inner area of your villa. It's very convenient. You can get lost. You can abstract yourself. You can do your own thing. And a very convenient parking lot for your Rolls-Royce. It's standard. People have thought long and hard. They're mature. We want it, but we want it cheap and we want it ready now. Well, I can assure you, ready to go is expensive. Everything that's bad. Let's take a bad project. Here it was under construction. At the stage of construction, the developer could not sell it out. This one may even get cheaper. Good projects at the construction stage, they become more expensive several times. That is, they can be resold several times, and accordingly, the maximum price will be at the time of receiving the keys. And people are willing to overpay for it in order to get those apartments that no one has lived in, and that will be ready in a month. You will pay for ready-made apartments. Besides the fact that they grew during the construction phase, you want ready-made, plus 7% to the agent. If you take the secondary, if you take something directly ready, not from the developer, and repurchase from third hands, keep in mind, real estate went up in price. Then you don't buy from a builder, but a private agent. You'll pay the agent. Officially, it'll be 2%. In all likelihood, it will be 5 to 7%. It takes 10 to 20% to get started. Some developer is willing to take 10%, give the remaining 10 to build on. But the standard is 20%. So if you want to buy a studio in Dubai for 100 or 120 or 130,000, you only need to have 20%. That's 20,000 or 30,000 or 40,000, depending on what you choose. If you are confident in your income, if you have some properties that are for sale that guarantee you that you will be able to pay off the installments, come in now because real estate is going up. This is what the payment plan looks like. This is the first project I showed you. It's a 1-bedroom. That was the price. We may still find something at that price, but it's getting more expensive with every launch. There is a chance to get something in a project that has already been sold, but someone hadn't paid the installments. Such a lot also goes on the market at the old price. We can also take such a lot when the property is ready faster. According to this payment plan, see down payment 10% and 2 months to pay another 10%, and then the next payment only after 6 months. At the final stage, 50% is taken by this developer. As you can see, everything is in dirhams, but I've converted it to euros as well. The sums are insignificant. This is for those who thought that Dubai is expensive, something unreal. In general, everything is quite realistic, and you can take a cool real estate with a swimming pool, with palm trees, with new asphalt. All the roads are new, with the sun in the end. You can swim every day, go to the gym every day, live there, come there for a month. You can rent by the month through our partners. A person will be in charge of renting. Rent for a month. You decide to come, you take that month for yourself. Everything, you live there, in your property, which all the other months brings you income. Important point, you pay 0% to the agent. So you don't pay me anything for my work, for consulting with you here online or meeting me offline. You can fly to me and I will take you to the area of interest and show you around. All this is already included in the price of the property. Our work is paid for by the developer. We cooperate with hundreds of developers in the Emirates, and we can offer any option. And everything you see in the presentation is a brief selection, so it doesn't take up a lot of time. We have hundreds of projects in the runoff. We have any kind of contact. If you see something interesting on the internet, you can send me photos, and I will tell you about the project. If it hasn't sold yet. Because in advertising, most of the time it is something that has been sold long ago and at an undervalued price. There is a website on the right, there is Facebook, there is Instagram, there is Telegram, Dubai News. It is very interesting to read sometimes, to compare with your news. On the left it is my Instagram. On top it is QR code, which has all my contacts, WhatsApp and Telegram and numbers. I will be glad to your questions. Write to me personally. Thank you for your attention.